Hello guys, welcome to this brand new video, and today we are doing a continuation of the series that we did earlier. And today what we are going to basically do is let our player move. And so if you have some I have noticed some problems in some series from so I'm just removing something that I added earlier. What I've noticed here is some of your fish is behaving in this way, so it looks blur. So what you can do is in our ordering layer property of the hero fish, just set it to 1. So what it does is basically order the hero fish above one layer above the background thing. So background is in layer 0 and the hero fish is in layer 1. So what do we want to do is put all things, the background things in 0, and the players and enemies in layer 1. So we want to move this hero fish. So what we want to do is create a folder and name it to scripts, PTS scripts, and then just add a C# script, create a C# script, rename it to player move. Just hit enter to open it up, and inside monad block you can see your script is ready. So this is the basic framework given by Unity. So I already have a script here from player move. So this is a completed script, so you have to comment out some lines if you are copying it from here. So do not just hurry, you can copy on later. So just comment this line out, also comment these lines out. Okay, let's just do this here and comment. Okay, comment here, comment okay, here as well, and here as well. So I'll tell you what we are doing here, what the problem is it that we are facing. So okay, I think this should be fine. Okay, what I am doing here is I'm just setting the speed, declaring a new speed of type vector2, which is public variable, to a new vector2 that is value 10 and 10. So what this basically does is speed has two components, speed.x and speed.y, since it's a vector2. So what this does is assign value 10 to speed.x and value 10 to speed.y. So we have now declared another variable, vector2 movement. So this movement is used for the player movement. So maybe give it distance, how much to move, things like that, you'll see. And this input x and input y are two floating type variables that we have just declared. So and just leave the start function empty. Start function is the one is the function that starts as soon as the game object is initialized, or the game basically opens. In this case, yes, the player basically the games opens, or in some cases if you are generating from prefabs, so start function starts when the prefab instance of the game object starts. So update function here, update function is the one that repeats itself with the processor, one process cycle with the processor cycle, things like that. And input x, we are assigning here input x equals to input dot get axis horizontal. So horizontal, what we are doing is we are checking if user has pressed W, A, S or D keys. So input dot get axis returns a positive value when your left arrow, I think the left arrow or right arrow, okay, left arrow is returned, and input dot x returns negative value when the left arrow is pressed, or key A is pressed, and D, when D is pressed, input get axis horizontal returns a positive value. So input y, same thing here, W or the arrow key, arrow up key gives you a positive value, and S or the arrow down key gives you a negative value, and these both are 0 when there is no user input from these 4 keys. So this thing works fine. It works fine for the joystick controller as well, and for the joysticks game controllers as well. So movement equals to new vector2 speed x into speed y, speed x into input x, speed y into input y. So what we are basically doing is the input that came from the user, we are multiplying with the speed. speed.x component and speed.y to with the input y from the user. So if the user has pressed any of these keys, we are moving the player 10 positions forward in the same direction. So if the user presses W and does not press A or D or S, then the value of input Y will be 1 and speed.y is already 10. So the player will move 10 coordinates up in the screen, and it will not move sideways. And if and similarly in the and if the in the same type, if the user presses A or D keys and do not press W or S keys, so it will move in horizontal direction only. So if the user chooses to press both W and D keys, so we'll move in up or down direction, we'll move in a a bit of slanted thing, a bit of slope type. So we'll go maybe right up, north right, what do you say? Okay, maybe north right, or maybe northeast, something like that. We'll go up and right in simultaneous time. So it will generate a motion of in a not a horizontal or vertical line, in another type of lines. So this we are assigning a distance, we are declaring a new variable distance, dist, short form for distance, and we are just assigning it the jet distance between transform.position, meaning the fish, and the main camera in jet coordinates. So why we are doing this is the jet camera is not placed in the same position as the player is in. So player is in 0, 0, 0, and main camera is already in jet position -10. So that is what we have set, and why we want to assess this is this will be an important role in determining determining the fitting our player between the 4 boundaries of our screen. So we are doing that in the later parts. Here in the left, we have declared left border. So what we are doing is converting this new vector 3 from world point to viewport coordinate. So world point is the real world in the scene, and viewport is the screen coordinate. So it's basically like watching someone in the TV, since they are in the third and 3D dimension somewhere in the other part of the world, but inside our in our TV screen they are always in a 2D coordinate. So what we are doing is here is converting the new vector 3, that is only the jet component. So we do not want to alter the jet component, we do not want to set border of the left border in the jet component thing. So we are just keeping the jet component in constant in all these 4 cases, in the left border, top border, right border, and the bottom border thing. So we are in the right border, we are setting x to 1 and y to 0. So in screen, while we are talking about screen, that topmost position here is 0, 0, and here it's 1, 1. So we want to fit in between these two coordinates, so that that is what we are going here. So that is why the right x coordinate is 1, that is this is 1, and the bottom y coordinate is 1, that is the same thing here, this is 1. So what we are doing is transform.position equals to new vector 3. So we are clamping this transform.position.x between left border and right border. What clamping basically does is it does not allow the transform.position.x to be greater than to be other than the value that lies between left border and right border. So it is always constant between the left border of the screen and right border of the screen, so that our player cannot move out. So we have not altered the jet position. And in the fixed update, so fixed update is called every time fixed update is called after some seconds. So problem with the update is that it might run a bit fast on some processors with higher gigahertz processing speed, and on the lower in devices it might run a bit slower, not so much noticeable to the user, but still it might feel laggy at moments. And fixed update is called after a few frames after fixed time on every devices, so it is constant value. So fixed update is like calling a method after some seconds. So fixed update, in fixed update we have just assigned this movement from here that we just calculated here to the velocity of the rigid body component here. So we have not attached a rigid body 2D component up till now, and we have not talked about this. So I'm going to talk about this now since the script is finished. So these things that we have commented, will go back onto these things in the later part of the videos. Back in Unity, just drag the player move. Okay, just drag. Okay, for some reason I'm not able to drag it. Okay, just drag the player move to here, and this is what I was talking about. You can modify the public variables from the Unity editor, and you do not have to go to script to modify these things. So what you can do, so we have to assign, we have to add a rigid body 2D component. So just click add component and do rigid body 2D, and here is the rigid body 2D. Just press enter or click with the mouse, and here is use automask. So we don't use, so automask is a feature from Unity. It determines, I exactly not know how it determines. So it determines the size of the object and just assigns it a value, and in most cases we do not want that. So mass of this object, let's just keep it the same. We do not want it to be heavy or something like that. So it's a unit value across all unit value assigned to it, so we are not touching that. So linear drag is something offered so that up thrust when you are moving in a linear motion, and angular is the up thrust or the friction that is provided when you are moving at some angle to the horizontal or vertical axis. So gravity scale 1, this means how fast, how much scale of gravity is applied to your player. So you can play around with this thing, but I find 1 to be okay. And we do not need these things much now. We'll talk about that later. In the constraints things, you can adjust the X, Y, and G position if you want to rotate these things or not. So let's not touch that now because we do not want that. So just hit play here, and as the game continues, you can see that the hero fish, our fish, is moving slowly, gradually moving down. And if you want to test out using the WASD keys or the arrow keys from the keyboard, this fish moves fine. And if you go to the borders, to the edge of the screens, then it just fits in and it does not go out of that part. However, how much forcefully you press this keys, so you can move the player around. You can just let it just not move it, and it will just gradually come down from on the screen and just settle at the bottom here like this. And so this fish has a weapon, and in the next video we'll be doing covering on how to let this player fire his shot at the enemy. So we might as well add some enemies in that part. We might as well add some enemies to our game. So thank you guys for watching this, and I'll be back with more tutorials soon. And if you want to hear more from me, if you want to learn such things in the later parts, so you can just subscribe to my channel. And if you like this video, and if you learn something from this video, please leave a thumbs up, so it really helps me. And if you want to know something more, you can just leave your comments down in the comment section. And stay tuned for next video, guys. Thank you for watching. I'll be back soon. Peace.